what if you aren't a thing at all? Like, what if your personality and even the hair on your head are actually verbs?
Yeah.
Welcome to the deep dive. We are so glad to have you, the learner, here with us today, because our mission today is to just fundamentally rethink the concept of identity, existence, and, well, the physical body you're sitting in right now.
That's a big one.
It really is. We are pulling together some incredible threads today. We've got this fascinating content package from a philosophy-based practice called Being Yoga.
Right.
And we are pairing that with these deep theological teachings from Swami Paramarthananda Saraswati on Advaita Vedanta, plus this mind-bending blog post exploring the literal biological anatomy of the human heart.
It's quite the stack of sources.
It is. So let's just unpack this idea that we have completely misunderstood what it means to exist. Where do we even start?
Well, it's a massive shift in perspective, right? Mm-hmm. And I think it all really begins with this subtle trap that we fall into basically every single time we open our mouths.
The language trap.
Exactly. There is this concept in modern contemplative practice that's often referred to as the noun illusion.
Okay.
Because, language dictates reality.
Uh-huh.
And the English language is just incredibly heavily biased toward nouns. We say things like, I am a person.
Right.
Or, I have a body, I have an anxious mind. And by wrapping our identity in all these nouns, we subconsciously construct a reality made of solid, fixed objects.
Because nouns imply permanence.
Yeah.
Like a table is a table, a rock's a rock. So when I call myself a person, I'm kind of tricking my own brain into thinking I am a static, unchanging thing.
Right. And that linguistic habit creates a profound psychological limitation. The philosophical counterargument here is that reality isn't a collection of things at all.
It's not objects.
No, it's an ongoing process. Existence is fundamentally verb-like. You are not a noun experiencing the world. You are the continuous unfolding of activity.
Which takes a second to kind of wrap your head around. But if you look at the physical body, the sources point out that it makes total sense. Like even the parts of us that seem the most dead and static.
Like your hair.
Exactly. Your fingernails, your hair. They are verbs. They are the active processes of biological material pushing outward, interacting with oxygen, breaking down.
Right, they are happening.
They are happening. Which makes me think about the enormous amount of energy we spend treating our bodies like nouns.
Oh, yeah.
We treat ourselves like a fixed statue that we have to sculpt and polish and optimize for some highly curated aesthetic.
Yeah, we want to freeze ourselves in time.
Right. But what if we viewed ourselves as a live musical performance instead?
Oh, I love that analogy because what's fascinating here is the contrast. When you treat yourself as a statue, as a product, you introduce an immense amount of friction into your life.
Because statues chip.
Exactly. You suddenly have a self that constantly requires defending, improving, validating. You're always trying to reach this finish line to declare, look, this is who I am.
Right.
But the alternative is shifting to what we call a verb reality.
A verb reality.
Yeah. If you view yourself not as a statue, but as the process of selfing.
You're selfing.
Like a verb, right? A continuous unfolding.
Yeah.
Then there is no static self to protect.
It's like the difference between the statue and the live musical performance. A concert isn't a single solid object you can hold.
No, it's an event.
Right, it's an event. It's a series of notes blooming and fading in real time. If the musicians stopped playing to try and hold on to one perfect chord, the music could just die.
That captures the relief of this shift beautifully, I think. Focusing on the product creates friction, but focusing on the process allows for radical presence.
You don't have to frantically maintain your identity anymore.
Exactly. And the sources point this out so well. If you just think about the trajectory of a human life, just watching a child grow from infancy to childhood into old age, that is undeniable proof right there.
Proof that we aren't static.
Right. There was no single solid you in that timeline. The person you were at 5 years old is physically and psychologically just gone.
Wow. Yeah, that's true.
So a human being is a verb. We are breathing, sensing, becoming.
Okay, so I am fully on board with the verb idea conceptually,
Okay.
but we have to address the elephant in the room here.
Let's do it.
If I am just a continuous unfolding of activity, like this live concert of biology and thought, why do I feel so incredibly solid? Like, why does my ego feel so permanent, and why do I feel so separated from you and everyone else?
That is the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
And to bridge that gap, There's this brilliant metaphor found across several non-dual philosophies in our sources, the river and the whirlpool.
Okay, paint that picture for me.
So imagine you are standing on the bank of a really fast-moving river, and you spot a whirlpool spinning in the current.
Right.
Now, to a casual observer, that whirlpool looks like an independent object. It has a specific shape, a specific location. It has a behavior. You can point right at it and give it a name.
You can track it as it moves down the river. It seems completely distinct from the water around it.
Exactly. Yet, if you try to extract that whirlpool from the river,
you can't.
You can't. It has absolutely no separate substance.
Yeah.
It is only moving water. It exists merely because a specific pattern of motion is occurring.
Wow.
And the moment the water stops spinning, the whirlpool vanishes entirely. But importantly, when it vanishes, not a single drop of water is lost.
Oh, that's wild. So the argument here is that our personalities, our egos, are the whirlpool.
We are the whirlpools.
Yeah.
You appear separate. You have a distinct physical shape and a distinct psychological spin, but your underlying substance is entirely the universal flow.
Right.
And this has massive implications for how we handle our mental health, too.
How so?
Well, think about repetitive anxiety loops. Or those deep-seated identity narratives like, I am just an unlovable person.
Yeah, those feel very permanent when you're in them.
They do, but they aren't permanent structures in your brain. They are psychological whirlpools.
Oh, I see.
They exist only because your mental energy keeps spinning in the exact same pattern over and over. Your attention feeds the loop, tightening it into this dense vortex that feels like a solid noun.
I see the utility in that for sure. But let me just play devil's advocate for the listener who is, dealing with harsh physical realities.
Fair enough.
Because the poetry of the whirlpool is lovely, but when I stub my toe on a heavy oak coffee table, both my toe and the table feel very much like nouns. They feel like solid, unforgiving objects.
They definitely do.
So how does understanding this whirlpool mechanic actually help someone in their daily life when reality physically hurts?
That distinction is so crucial because the goal here is not to deny physical reality or just slip into delusion. The coffee table is dense matter.
Right.
And pain is a very real biological function of your nervous system. When you stub your toe, the pain is inevitable.
Okay, so the pain is real.
Yes, but the suffering, the story you spin around the pain that is the whirlpool. Suffering sounds like, why does this always happen to me? I'm so clumsy. My whole day is ruined.
So the physical pain is just the water flowing, but the story I tell myself about it is the spinning trap.
Precisely the point. When you believe you are a static noun, every criticism, every physical pain, every failure feels like a fundamental threat to your permanent existence.
Right, you go into defense mode.
Exactly. You engage in the frantic maintenance of defending your ego. But when you realize you are the water flowing rather than the whirlpool, the suffering just softens.
Because there's no static you to defend against the coffee table.
Exactly. The pain happens, the experience flows through your nervous system, and the water just keeps moving.
That reframing changes everything. But it leads to kind of the ultimate question here.
What's that?
If my personality, my body, and my anxiety loops are all just the spinning whirlpools, what exactly is the water?
To define the water, we have to look at the teachings of Swami Paramarthananda Saraswati and this ancient philosophy of Advaita Vedanta.
Right, one of our main sources today.
Yes. So Advaita literally means not two. It's the idea that there is only one fundamental reality. And to help students discover what that reality is, Vedanta uses this logical process of elimination called neti.
Neti, meaning not this, not this.
Right.
So we basically strip away everything that isn't permanent to find the underlying substance.
That's exactly how it works. The teachings ask you to really examine the three states of human experience: waking, dreaming, and deep sleep.
Yeah.
So are you the waker? When you are awake, you have a body, a job, a physical world. But the moment you fall asleep and start dreaming, the waking world vanishes.
The waker is completely gone.
Right. Therefore, you cannot fundamentally be the waker because you still exist when the waker disappears.
Wow. And the same logic applies to the dreamer, right? The dream world feels incredibly real while you're in it.
It's just so real.
But then you slip into deep, dreamless sleep and the dreamer vanishes entirely.
Exactly. Which leaves the final question. Are you the physical body-mind complex?
Let me guess. The answer is no.
The answer is, again, no. The body and mind are instruments. They are the equipment that the awareness uses to interact with the world, but they are not the awareness itself.
Because you are aware of your thoughts, which means you cannot be the thoughts.
Yes. In Vedanta, the ultimate you is the Sakshi, the silent witness.
So if my entire life, like my waking, my dreaming, my thinking, if that's all a movie,
Yeah.
I am not the hero on the screen. I'm not the villain. I'm not the director.
No.
I am the blank screen the movie is projected onto.
That's a perfect analogy.
Because the screen intimately allows the movie to exist, right? It's bathed in the light and color of the film. But if there's a massive explosion in the movie, the screen doesn't burn. It remains completely unaffected.
The screen analogy holds up perfectly under Vedantic logic. If we connect this to the bigger picture here, while recognizing yourself as a verb is a great hack to shatter the noun illusion of everyday life.
Yeah.
Technically speaking, Vedanta argues that you are the actionless substance upon which all those verbs play out. You are what ancient scholars defined as Sat-Chit-Ananda.
Sat-Chit-Ananda. Those 3 words seem to form the bedrock of this entire philosophy.
They really do.
Let's unpack the mechanics of that, starting with Sat.
So, Sat translates to eternal existence. And it is not existence as a concept, but the undeniable feeling of I am.
B-I-M.
Right. Before you attach a name to yourself, before you remember your history, there is just the raw, silent fact that you exist. Yeah. That baseline presence is Sat.
Okay, and Chit.
Chit is pure consciousness. It is the self-luminous quality of that existence. It's the awareness that is literally looking out of your eyes right now, registering the sound of our voices.
It's just the light being on.
Exactly. It doesn't require effort to be aware. The awareness is simply on.
Okay, so the 3rd word is Ananda, and that's usually translated as bliss, which honestly always confused me.
How so?
Well, if my baseline state is bliss, why am I stressed about my taxes? Like, bliss sounds like an active emotional high.
Oh, that's a very common misconception. We hear bliss and we think of like the emotional rush of eating a great meal or winning an award.
Right.
But Ananda is much better understood as limitless fullness.
Limitless fullness.
Yeah. It is the complete and total absence of lack. It's a state where nothing needs to be added and nothing needs to be removed.
Wow.
And Vedanta points out that we all experience this directly every single night in deep, dreamless sleep.
Wait, really? How does deep sleep prove limitless fullness? We are completely unconscious.
Well, think about the mechanics of deep sleep for a second. In that state, you don't have your title.
Yeah.
You don't have your bank account, your anxieties, or even the sensation of your body. All your conceptual nouns are just completely gone.
The whirlpool has completely flattened out.
Exactly. And yet, you don't feel a sense of panic. You don't feel a sense of lack. You wake up and say, man, I slept so peacefully.
Oh, wow.
That peace isn't an emotion generated by the brain. It is your natural state of Ananda shining through because the noisy, desiring mind has finally shut down.
That fundamentally changes how I view sleep. It's not just a biological reset. It's like a daily return to the source water.
Beautifully put.
But that leads to an incredibly practical problem for me.
Okay, let's hear it.
So, I am Sat-Chit-Ananda. I am the eternal conscious water.
Yes.
But right now, I am sitting in a chair inside a physical body with a pumping heart. How does this infinite, formless consciousness actually anchor itself into the physical meat and bones of our daily human experience?
To understand that anchor, we have to transition from ancient theology to modern biology.
Okay, buddy.
The physical architecture of the human heart actually reveals an astonishing geometric connection to these cosmic principles.
This is the blog post source we mentioned at the start.
Yes. For a long time, medical science viewed the heart simply as a mechanical pump, an industrial piston that just squeezes blood through pipes.
Right.
But embryology tells a completely different story. At just 50 days in the womb, the heart reveals itself not as a pump, but as a helical space-time event.
A helical space-time event. I have always thought of my heart as just 4 chambers squeezing like a balloon.
Most people do.
But the anatomical breakdown in the source shows that the heart is actually formed by a single continuous rope of muscle, right? The myocardial ventricular band.
Yes. Imagine taking a long, flat band of muscle and twisting it into a double loop.
Okay.
That single spiraling rope forms the walls and chambers of the heart, and the mechanics of how it beats are entirely dependent on its geometry. It doesn't just squeeze.
What does it do?
It performs a twist and suck cycle.
Wait, like wringing out a wet towel?
Exactly like wringing out a wet towel.
Oh, if it wrings out like a towel, I imagine the angle of those muscle fibers has to be incredibly precise, like to maximize the pressure without just tearing the tissue apart.
The precision is staggering.
Sure.
The muscle fibers of this rope cross each other in a very specific 60-degree angle.
60 degrees.
This is what anatomists call the 60-degree secret.
Why 60 degrees?
Well, if fibers crossed at 90 degrees, horizontal like a belt, the heart would just squeeze the blood, which is highly inefficient. And if they were at 0 degrees, running straight up and down, the heart would just shorten vertically.
Oh, I see.
But at precisely 60 degrees, the heart achieves an optimal structural compromise. It creates this Gothic, aspirational arch of efficiency.
A Gothic arch, meaning it channels the energy upward and spirals it, creating a vacuum.
Exactly. Because of this 60-degree spiral twist, when the heart untwists, it literally creates a biological vacuum.
Wow.
It actively sucks 90% of the blood into its chambers before it even begins the next outward push.
That's incredible.
It's an organ of active reception, not just a brute force engine.
And what happens mechanically if the heart gets diseased or enlarged? Does it lose that perfect 60-degree geometry?
It does. When the heart enlarges, the fibers stretch and they flatten out. They become more horizontal, moving away from that Gothic spiral into what anatomists might call a Romanesque alignment.
Wide and flat.
Wider, flatter, heavier. When it loses that 60-degree spiral, it loses its vacuum power.
Oh, so it physically can't suck the blood in anymore.
Right. The heart becomes physically earthbound and has to labor incredibly hard, relying purely on muscular pushing rather than the elegant physics of suction.
It literally loses its connection to the universal flow.
Exactly.
And the sources say the connections go even deeper, right? Connecting this biological twist and suck rhythm to the primordial vibration of the universe itself.
Yes.
The sound of Om.
The parallels are just undeniable here. In ancient traditions, Om is considered the foundational vibration of existence. And it is broken down into 3 distinct phonetic sounds, A, U, and M.
Okay, let's map those sounds to the mechanics of the heartbeat. The A sound is the outward thrust.
Right. A represents the waking state, the expansion into the physical world. Biologically, this is the systole, the active twisting and outward thrust of blood into the body.
Okay, and the U?
U represents the sequential processing, the subtle dream state. In the heart, this is the transitional friction. It's the precise moment the twisting force travels along that 60-degree helical rope.
And M is the contraction.
Yes, M is the dissolution back into deep sleep. This is the diastole, the untwisting, the biological vacuum that suctions the blood back into the center.
Wow. And in the written symbol for Om, there's always that little dot floating at the top, the bindu.
Right, the bindu. That is the silence that contains all the sound.
How does that map to the heart?
In the heartbeat, it is the singular pulse, the microscopic pause between the beats. It represents the flash of pure Sat-Chit-Ananda consciousness in the timeless, now orchestrating the entire rhythm.
The symmetry is just staggering. The physical heart uses a vacuum to suction lifeblood back toward its center.
Yeah.
If we zoom out from the biology, what is the spiritual equivalent of that attraction? Like, what is the invisible force pulling the soul, the whirlpool, back into the infinite water?
The philosophical equivalent of that universal suction is love.
Love.
But we have to redefine love as an active structural force, not just a fleeting human emotion.
Right.
The philosopher C.S. Lewis broke this down brilliantly with his concept of the 4 loves, which our sources dive into.
The natural loves versus the ultimate love.
Yes. So Lewis outlined the natural loves. Storge, which is familial affection.
Okay.
Philia, which is deep friendship. And eros, romantic passion.
Sure, the ones we are most familiar with.
Right. And these are vital to human life, but they're inherently conditional. They're whirlpools interacting with other whirlpools.
Oh, that's interesting.
If left to their own devices, they can become self-serving, possessive, or even destructive. You love someone because of how they make you feel.
It's transactional. My vortex is feeding off the energy of your vortex.
Exactly. Which is why Lewis argued that the natural loves must be subordinated to agape.
Agape.
Agape is charity or God love. It is entirely unconditional and selfless. It is the water recognizing the water in someone else.
Wow.
When you operate from agape, love functions as the central neutral current of reality.
The central neutral current. I want to dig into that because the sources mention that this current balances the spinning polarities of the universe, which they call the lokas and talas.
Right.
What are those mechanical spins?
So, in esoteric cosmology, lokas and talas represent the dualistic forces of creation. Lokas are the spiritually positive, expanding, upward spinning dimensions.
Okay.
Talas are the negative, contracting, dense, downward spinning dimensions. They are the ultimate forces of push and pull.
And without a stabilizing axis, these massive energetic spins would just tear reality apart.
Precisely. Love agape is that central, neutral axis. As one text beautifully puts it, it is the nature of love to love.
That's incredible.
It is the fundamental gravitational pull that holds the spinning architecture of the universe in equilibrium.
That paints an incredible picture of fractal reality.
Doesn't it?
It's like reality is just repeating the exact same pattern at different scales. If you zoom all the way out, a galaxy is a massive spinning vortex of stars.
Yeah.
You zoom in, and a weather system, like a hurricane, is a vortex.
Yeah.
You zoom in again, and human anxiety is a psychological vortex of thoughts. And sitting right in the very center of your chest is a physical helical vortex of 60-degree muscle, your twisting heart generating a vacuum to pull life into itself.
It's a hierarchy of vortices. The exact same fluid dynamics playing out from the cosmic scale all the way down to the cellular scale.
So, to kind of synthesize this entire journey for the listener...
Yeah, let's bring it home.
Your heart is a vortex beating inside the psychological whirlpool of your mind, which is spinning inside the vast ocean of eternal consciousness.
Exactly.
And the ultimate goal of all these teachings isn't to figure out how to make your personal whirlpool spin faster or look shinier to the other whirlpools around you.
No, not at all.
The goal is to deeply fundamentally realize that you are and always have been the water.
And that realization carries an immense psychological payoff.
It really does.
It replaces the endless grinding exhaustion of becoming with the profound ease of being.
The ease of being.
Yeah. When you finally internalize that you are Sat-Chit-Ananda, pure existence, consciousness, and limitless fullness, you could just stop frantically maintaining the noun of your identity.
Because there's nothing to protect.
Exactly. Your baseline reality cannot be damaged by a stubbed toe, it cannot be diminished by failure, and it requires absolutely zero effort to maintain.
Well, we have covered incredible ground today. We moved from the linguistic trap of treating ourselves as static nouns to discovering the dynamic, unfolding verb of our actual existence.
It's a huge shift.
We explored the logic of Vedanta, proving that we are the silent screen beneath the movie of our lives. We unpacked the 60-degree secret of the human heart, revealing it as a biological vacuum echoing the rhythm of Om.
Yeah.
And we saw how love is the central gravity holding all these spinning whirlpools together.
It is the kind of knowledge that, once you truly grasp the mechanics of it, it changes the lens through which you view every single moment.
Absolutely. And so, to leave you, our listener, with one final thought. We've spent this time exploring how realizing you are the water changes how you see yourself.
Right.
It brings that incredible ease of being. But I want you to think about the other whirlpools you are going to encounter tomorrow.
Oh, that's a great point.
Your boss, your family members, the stranger cutting you off in traffic. Their whirlpools might be spinning with anxiety or anger or fear.
Yeah, they usually are.
But if they are just temporary spinning vortices made of the exact same unbroken water as you, how does that change the way you interact with them tomorrow morning?
Something to think about.
Thank you for taking this deep dive with us. We'll catch you next time.